Hi there, everyone. This is Dan Dix here, reporting for Press for Truth. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about Obama's illegal amnesty and what this actually means for Canada. Now, if you came to the U.S. illegally as late as December 31st, 2013, you are eligible for amnesty. And that's full citizenship with all the welfare benefits that go along with that. Now, it's estimated that around 5 million illegals are eligible, having the fact that they've escaped the poverty of Central America. Now, of course, we all know that this poverty is actually caused by the Federal Reserve's inflation and the CIA's war on drugs, as they call it. Not to mention, this executive amnesty will create incentives for future illegals to cross the U.S.-Mexican border in hopes that they will one day, too, become legal citizens as well. Now, I know some people are going to be saying that, well, hey, America was founded on immigration. You know, what's wrong with recognizing that these hardworking Central Americans are just doing the jobs that nobody in America wants to do, and that, you know, they're being aptly rewarded for that? Well, there's two things wrong with that statement. First of all, illegal immigrants aren't exactly doing jobs that nobody in America wants to do. It is actually because of their illegality that they are able to fill the jobs that employers just find too expensive to hire Americans for. Remember, when you're legal, you're bound by minimum wage laws and all of the paperwork and all the regulations that's involved with employment. So it's much easier to just hire under the table. And since Americans and others from Central American countries are willing to work for lower wages, well, they're first in line. And there's nothing stopping Americans from taking their labor into the black market for lower, unskilled labor. But of course, the main issue with this executive amnesty is that it further strengthens the idea that the White House can, well, govern by decree. See, Obama's amnesty will not only save the illegals from deportation, but it's going to fully integrate them into this welfare state. It's going to help erode the illusion of borders and just bring about this whole North American Union. Perhaps the solution is actually to build a border fence along Mexico and reinforce the notion that Mexico, United States, and Canada are not the same country, and we're not going to be a part of this larger union. So Obama's amnesty is actually predicted to cost American taxpayers another $2 trillion. Meanwhile, of course, most illegals are consuming more welfare than they actually contribute. Not to mention the economic incentives for employers to lay off Americans and hire illegals who have just became legal. So if the only thing stopping employers from hiring illegals was the risk, well, Obama just eliminated that risk, especially in the Obamacare scheme, too. I mean, employers must provide Obamacare health coverage unless their employees are the new illegals who have just been given citizenship. That's a $3,000 per employee incentive to hire illegal aliens. But how is this going to affect Canadians here in Canada? Well, although we don't share a border with a third world nation, we do have a corrupt immigration practice here that does allow workers to come here on temporary exchanges. I'm talking about the so-called Temporary Foreign Workers Program. It's been anything but temporary, and it serves the exact same purpose as just allowing the illegals to come in here. We're probably also going to find that many Americans head to Canada for better job opportunities because their country is just completely overrun by illegals with amnesty. The erosion of our borders is just going to further the implementation of a North American Union. See, Canada has its own amnesty advocates as well. Amnesty.ca wants to ensure the world that Canada is open for justice, or just open for business. Well, if you're unsure of what that means, join the club. When it comes to opening up the borders, we should be letting people into our country by assessing whether their human rights are being violated. But, of course, so-called human rights, so to speak, is a slippery slope. There's just no real clear definition. You know, I could say that my human rights are being totally violated because I can't start a business in Canada without the parasitic busybody bureaucrats who want to just regulate every transaction and tax me into bankruptcy. But hey, maybe I can apply to Chile for amnesty. But of course I'm joking. I'm not about to go anywhere. Canada's sovereignty just has to be fought for here to keep the North American Union at bay. Of course, we have to stop this New World Order from destroying all of national sovereignties around the world. But this is going to mean defining what Canadian sovereignty is all about. And I can tell you this, it's not about socialized healthcare or multiculturalism. In fact, multiculturalism has been a calculated attack on Western values and traditions. It's been designed to replace property rights with this vague United Nations defined human rights. Well, there is no such thing as a human right, there's only property rights. Who I allow into my property is my business. If my actions cause conflict, like for example, allowing a foreigner onto my property who may have brought in a disease with them, well, it becomes the role of a third party arbitrator to find a resolution that suits all parties. Now, traditionally, this arbitrator has been the state, but as states become more bloated with bureaucracy, they just become more corrupt and they identify more with the special interest groups and less with the people who actually elect them. So their relevancy and legitimacy is completely called into question. So Obama's executive amnesty is a violation of the rule of law. I mean, it's going to have consequences that will encourage more illegals to cross the border. And Americans seeing their countries destroyed from within are going to take to greener pastures, like Canada. So this domino effect will see our borders erased, and all of North America is going to be under the guise of this centralized government. Now, this is not what liberty is all about. This is not the kind of immigration that America was founded on. This is a calculated attack on our values and our Western institutions. And so, if I can leave you with anything today, I'm going to leave you with this. As Hans Hermann Hoppe writes, a good measure of uninvited foreigners and government-imposed multiculturalism is calculated to further weaken and ultimately destroy national, regional, and communal identities and thus promote the goal of a one-world order led by the U.S. and a new universal man.